Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to continue with Noteflight, the Basics 1.2. In today's tutorial, we're going to actually create a single line snare drum used in marching band drum lines. And to just give credit, we're going to go ahead and mosey over to a site we're pulling this from. This is actually a great site for directors or students or anybody really that wants to download free drum lines. And we're going to go ahead and just take a snippet of one called Bacon and Eggs. But there's a bunch of really great level 1, level 2 drum lines, great for anybody really. So this is freedrumlinemusic.com. You should definitely check it out. So to get started, let's go ahead and get just the basic setup taken care of here. First, let's go ahead and actually put in the right instrument that we're going to use. So if you look at the top palette right up here, okay, we have save, we have parts, formatting. We're just going to focus on the ones that we're going to use today. So first, go ahead and click the one that says parts and has a guitar. Okay, so we're going to write just for one instrument, and that's going to be a snare drum. In fact, a marching snare drum. So what do we need to do? Go to where it says add part, and you're going to click that right there. And under instruments, go ahead and click snare drum, and it should give you suggestions here. So we're going to go ahead and choose snare marching band and just press OK. Okay, so now we have a percussion and we have snare. And we don't need the regular percussion, so we're going to come back to the parts on the side. We're going to press the little trash can to delete it. Perfect. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and make sure all the main formatting is done. So we're going to do a 8-bar example. In fact, let's put that out here. 8-bar example. Perfect. Okay, but you notice we have only 4 bars. So what are we going to do? Well, we need to go ahead and create at least 4 more bars. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click this first bar. In fact, I'm going to press that first bar and then Control A to select all of it. Okay. Then I'm going to come to the 3 pancakes here. Okay. Now the 3 pancakes show me all the different functions I can have, and I'm going to choose measure, and I'm going to choose measure either before or after because we haven't really started anything. But you notice measure right next to it has a check mark. So that means it's already on the top of the page. So we're going to just come up here because it's a little easier. And we're going to go ahead and just add, you see this next to measure, it says add after. We're going to click this 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now we have 8 measures. We're going to go ahead and free up some of the page. So we're going to click this X over by parts, give us a little more room. And we're almost there for the basic setup. We're going to go ahead and go here to tempo because we're going to want to listen to this too. I'm going to go ahead and click this, and if you notice right up here, this is part of tempo. So it's at 120 beats per minute. We're going to go ahead and change that to 106. just in the beginning so we don't have to worry about it later. And then we're always going to press save. After we do a few things, we're always going to press this cloud with an up arrow, and this is what we had talked about before. Now I'm going to show you a very common mistake that happens often. If you're not paying attention, a lot of times you'll click one bar and you'll change the tempo, and you notice there's 106, quarter note equals 106 here, and in the next measure it says quarter note equals 120. That means we didn't choose everything. So I'm going to go ahead and click the first bar again, press Control A, so everything is selected. I'm going to change the tempo again. Oops. I'm just going to go ahead and highlight it and type 106, press enter, and then everything is going to be at that same speed. And that's it for creating the basic setup. Now we're going to go ahead and insert notes. Now this is where having the PDF, the example comes in handy. So we'll have this in the side of the screen here. We're going to start measure by measure. And before we even do anything, I want you to think that we need to think smarter rather than harder. Because if you think smarter, you're going to save a ton of time. However, if you don't think smart about this, you're going to use 4 times as much time when you're writing music. So let's go ahead and start. We're going to go ahead and just copy what is in the first measure. So first, we're going to go ahead and start with some 16th notes. Start getting a couple of these in, and parts of this video I'm going to go ahead and just fast forward it, but I do want to show you a couple little steps first. As I'm putting in notes, you notice I'm having to change certain notes, and remember from the first video, the Basics 1.2 tutorial, we talked about entering notes and how to change them. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just do the first measure, and we're going to go ahead and resume in 1 second. Okay, so you notice we got our first measure in. And if we compare it to the original example, the rhythm is correct, but not everything's exactly the same. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start. We have in measure beat 2, rather measure 1 beat 2 right here, we have a different looking note head. We have this X thing, and we need to change what we have to an X. So how do we do that? Okay, it actually creates a different sound. Let's listen to the sound as it is right now. Press play. Okay, so that's what we have at the moment. We need to change this so it's an X. So we're going to scroll down to note, and we're going to find the one that looks like an X or a cross right there. There we go. So we're going to click that, and oops, and you notice I accidentally clicked down here and created an extra note. How I get rid of that, just without even pressing delete, just press Control Z, and that will undo it for you. And I'm going to click to the side. Now let's just go ahead and listen to this measure and see how it's different. So it sounds like that X is a rim shot. Great. Now, we have a couple other things that we need to do. Next, we're going to go ahead and talk about articulations. So articulations are like the style, the emphasis in how we're doing some things. And most of them, if you notice, there are these short accents, the pretty typical accent. Now, if you scroll again over to the side, you'll see articulations and all these different ones. Now you're going to see the ones, if you check out the PDF that we're looking from, you'll see the regular accent and you'll see the strong accent. I like to call this one a rooftop accent, personally. But we also have that check mark, so it's right here, right next to articulations. So most of these are this particular accent right here. And if you notice, it has accent with a little symbol that you can use as shortcut. Okay, the parentheses on the side here. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight this note, and I'm going to go ahead and press on my keyboard the parentheses, and I press right arrow. I do it again, and so it makes it really quick and easy. Now this one's a little different. This one is the rooftop accent or the strong accent, and we're going to do the same thing here. So we did that. Okay, I'm going to go to the next note, and we're going to finish this measure. So now all our accents are done. Okay, we finally have one more main thing before we move on to another measure, and that's putting in the snare drum stickings. You might be like, why do we do that? Well, this gives our performers, it tells them how to do it so it sounds in a certain way. Okay, so in the beginning we're going to go ahead, and if we're verifying and looking at our original PDF, we're going to go ahead and find that there starts on right. Okay, so we have an R, and we want it on the bottom. We don't want it on top. Now, there is a text function right here. You can also find it on the side. And the two ones I use the most are the performance text and the expression text. Now, one is on top and one is on the bottom. If I press the T by itself, or I just press this button right here, you notice there's a spot that opens up on top. And I don't want it on top. I actually want it on the bottom. So I'm going to click the other one, and it's expression text. And I can also press Control E for a shortcut, and I just literally type in R. Now, the time-consuming aspect is that it's not as easy to move to the side with this particular function, but that's okay. So I'm just going to type in R, then L, and it looks like we're just going back and forth, right? So let's finish this. Okay, great. So what I've done is I went ahead and got all of the expression text put in. Now let's listen to it. Great. Okay, and hopefully everybody that plays this will have that same similar look and sound. Now, this is where I'm going to get to saving time. Whenever we write in a software like this, a composition software, we can copy. And the more you can copy and paste, the quicker things will go. So I'm going to look at the example. I'm going to say, you know, is there any measure that's the same as this or very similar? So I'm looking at it, and I'm noticing that the second measure is exactly the same. So why spend all the time rewriting everything where I can copy this entire measure and paste it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the measure, make sure it's all highlighted. I'm going to press Control C for copy. And then I'm going to click the next measure, making sure it's just the next measure's copy or highlighted. And then I'm going to press Control V to paste. And if you notice, I just saved that amount of time. So I'm going to do the same thing for the rest of this piece, and I'm going to use the function Control C and Control V to copy and paste, and then we're going to recap at the end. Okay, so now that we have that all together, we just kind of double check everything. The ear is great for listening, seeing if there's mistakes or not. So we're going to go ahead and just kind of take a quick listen to this. Great. Okay, it sounds like we have it all together. And what I'm going to do is, again, save early and often. Press save, and we are going to go ahead and save, just like we did, by pressing this cloud with the up arrow, and then export to individual parts since it's just one piece. Press continue. It's going to prepare to download. And this, once you press save, we're giving it a moment. Once you press save, this will download to your downloads folder on your computer, and then you can upload it wherever you want. Thanks again for joining me, everybody, and good luck with your music writing.